Welcome. In front of me I have the Motorola ThinkPhone 25, and today I'll be going over unboxing along with a quick look at the device, its specifications, and generally what I think about it. So let's just get straight into this. We'll need to grab a knife. There we go. Okay, so that's basically everything that we get in a package. Let me just make it a little bit brighter. There we go. As you can see these a little bit better. So we got earbuds, Type-C, with silicone tips, multiple sizes right here. We got a cable, Type-C to Type-C, and as you've seen, a surprise inclusion of a charger. Now, this is not just any charger, this is a 68 watts, which is like nearly double the speed of what Samsung phones can even charge at. So perhaps for Motorola for including, you know, a little bit of a better packaging. Now, other than that, we also have a plastic hard case for the device with a ThinkPhone branding right here and a little red accent on that eye, and the device itself. Now let's boot that up, and while it's booting up, I'd want to also point out one more thing that I find very kind of nice about Motorola, considering this device is probably going to be overpriced, but I do want to point that out. The backs that everything comes in is scented, and it's just a gimmick, but holy hell does it like make it just kind of nice to unbox it. Now this device is about a year old at this point, so the scent is still present, but not as nice as on the newer devices. Newer meaning like ones that have been released more recently than a year ago. But in any case, let's talk about the display. And the battery level, holy hell, that is like almost dead. Let me just grab the cable before it actually decides to off itself. There we go. 11%. Okay, so the display right here is a 6.36 inches in size, with a resolution of 1220 by 2670 pixels. It is a P-OLED display, 1 billion colors, 120 Hz refresh rate, HDR10 plus certified, and a peak brightness of 3000 nits. Screen to body ratio is just shy of 90%, like 0.1 off. We have 462 pixels per inch and Corning Gorilla Glass 7i Mosh Level 4 on here. Now, in simple terms for the display right here, it is superb. The only thing that I would say it's missing is like something like the Dolby Vision certification. But other than that, it is a outstanding display right here. And surprisingly enough, considering this is Motorola and also a phone that was released a year ago, the bezels that we have right here are pretty freaking good for a year-old device. It's just a little bit of like what 1% off of what the newest devices nowadays have, like for instance Samsung's. So this is really good. Now if we flip it over to the back, we have this carbon fiber looking finish. I'm not sure if this is actual fiber. It is armored fiber back. Okay. We have, oh, why? So we have whatever fiber back, plastic frame. Why? You are doing so good. Come on, why would you put a plastic frame on a phone? Anyway, continuing on. So plastic frame, armored fiber back, glass front obviously. And at the back, the little protrusion right here, which is fairly minimal, especially for current standards where you literally have the second thickness of the device as camera bump. Here it's not as significant. As you can see, it's barely an inconvenience. This little bump houses triple camera setup, main sensor being a 50 megapixel 1.8 aperture wide sensor. Then we get a 10 megapixel 2.0 telephoto, 13 megapixel 2.2, 120 degree ultra wide. And with those cameras you can do 4K at 60 frames, good. And 1080p gets you to 240, though that's going to be slow motion. And then at the front, as a selfie camera in this hole punch, very small one though, I want to point out, is a 32 megapixel 2.4 aperture wide sensor that does 4K 30, 1080p up to 60, and slow motion of 120. So pretty good camera. For a one-year-old device, I would say it's sufficient enough. At this point, might be a little bit less with the 10 and 13 megapixel being included here. It just seems like the old kind of year ago idea of just putting out any kind of other cameras to pad out the numbers of cameras. Nowadays, I'm starting to see more phones having like, triple 50 megapixel sensors. So basically they're all the same in terms of, I guess, megapixel count. So here, that's not the case, obviously. Like I said, phones from even a year ago had a little bit of a different idea. I wouldn't be surprised to even see, phones maybe a little bit less expensive than this one that would come with like 2 megapixel macro or some garbage like that. So that was still common kind of practice a year ago. Anyway, continuing on into the internals. So the device is actually pretty light and small, and because of that it suffers a little bit with a battery size right here of 4,310 milliamps. But luckily it can be charged at 68 watts, and you also luckily get a charger for it, because that's what you're supposed to do. And I don't care for the BS, ooh, we care about the ecosystem. That's why we release a shitty phone that no one will buy every single year, 4 models at once, because we care so much. But none of them will get charger. Like, go sell your shit to someone else, because normal people ain't buying it. Meaning like the bullshit, more specifically, I should probably clarify. Anyway, so lower battery size capacity right here, considering nowadays you have phones that have like this size, 5.5 to 6,000 milliamps, because of the silicon carbon batteries. Back then, not so much. So anyway, lower size here, but luckily we can charge it fast, and it also can be wirelessly charged with a Qi charger at 15 watts. So we have two different ways of charging it, and still 15 watts for wireless charging at that time was pretty decent. The only phones that would kind of beat it were things like the Vivos and other things that would have like 60 watts wireless charging through Super VOOC or whatever. Obviously you're not gonna get that here. So moving on, we have 8 to 12 gigs of RAM, depending on which model you pick, and 256 to half a terabyte. Now there are just technically two versions of this: the 256 with 8, half a terabyte with 12. And there is no expandable storage, unfortunately. So if I grab, come on, there we go, this. You can see we have just a single SIM tray right here. And no SD card support, and not even dual SIM support. So, I'll actually clarify, and there isn't dual SIM support, there is kind of through eSIM. So you can pop in one physical SIM card and connect one eSIM as well. So you can have two numbers on this device. Now, continuing on, 8 to 12 gigs of RAM with 256 to half a terabyte of storage, powered by a Dimensity 7300, and that about sums it up, really. Under display fingerprint sensor and Dolby Atmos. What? Stop the cap. Come on. Dolby Atmos on a phone. Yeah, sure. I wouldn't really, buy a phone for Atmos. Let's put it this way. Now, let's talk about the price. Honestly, when this device released, it wasn't that expensive. Holy hell. Surprisingly. I want to see how much it costs right now if I would want to pick it up, because it's been a year. And right now we're looking at a pretty reasonable price as a brand new phone, not gonna lie. Let me see, what is the lowest price I can find it? New, I mean. I should probably clarify. So, come on. So we're looking at 1400 PLN. Now 1400, that's about $380 right now. So for 380 bucks, you get a pretty decent device. Now, I do want to kind of give some maybe other alternatives if you want to see something that is a little bit better in terms of specifications, like the processor. So by all means, this device is actually pretty fantastic. Even considering it's a year old, it's pretty well priced right now. And obviously, one device that always kind of comes up as a contender to basically anything that is in a low to mid-range price tag will be the CMF Phone 2 Pro at this point, to this device. Now, CMF phone will have some sacrifices when it's compared to this one, so it will be a very good option for people that might not be looking for specific features in this device. So I won't say that it's better, because this device has definitely better specifications in certain regions. So let's give you a kind of a quick rundown. So if I bring it up, so we're looking at a lower resolution display, but a bigger display at 6.7 inches. Cameras that are dual 50 megapixel wide and telephoto with 8 megapixel ultra wide. Lower resolution for recording. Bigger battery with no included charger. Faster processor with same amount of RAM if you go for the low end. Lower if you go for the half a terabyte version of this device. So the CMF phone gets to 128 or 256, both 8 gigabytes of RAM, but it has expandable storage. It has plastic build, better cameras, and a lower price tag, significantly lower. Considering this is about $380, CMF phone will cost you about $200. So $180 less for a processor that is faster than this, as the Dimensity 7300 Pro. So it is faster than what we have right here, as this is the 7300, not the Pro. So it is faster device, released more frequently, which also means that we will get more Android upgrades, 3 specifically, from Android 15 upwards, of 3 additional upgrades. Display-wise, it's about the same, AMOLED, 120 Hz refresh rate, but it does have 2160 Hz pull rate, meaning that the scrolling and speed of which the display reacts to your input is, well, at 2,160 times per second. So any kind of minute little movement, it's literally instantaneous to you. Also supports HDR10 and a peak brightness of also 3000 nits. It has a actually lower screen to body ratio at 86.7, comparing it to 89.9 on here. But like I said, this device has some advantages, like the faster charging speed. CMF phone has only 33. This is more than double right here. This one also has wireless charging, but a smaller battery. And it is also a year-old device, so you're not going to get as many upgrades to this device. Usually you get 2 or 3 years of upgrades. We're already a year in, so obviously you're missing out on additional upgrades, like at least one that the CMF phone would get. So CMF will get to like Android 18, while this might get to Android 17 at best. But one appealing feature of this is the back carbon fiber. It feels like a premium device. It will run still stupidly well. Dimensity 7300 or Pro. Either one of those is a really fast processor, and if you're not planning to play games, you really won't tell the difference between them. And even in games, it's not that big of a difference. So this is still a fantastic device. The only reason why I'm bringing up CMF Phone 2 Pro is because it is a more affordable device. And I personally look for devices that give you best bang for the buck. And here you pay more for the brand and for the feature set. So this is going to be, feeling wise, a bit more premium phone compared to the CMF phone, which is at about $200 in terms of feel. I mean, it is plastic. Not gonna kind of deny that. It is not gonna be as nice in feel and look as this one is, but it is faster and it is cheaper. So I did want to bring that up, as it's a best kind of comparison to this phone, considering they're almost rocking the same kind of processor. But what you're not gonna get with that device that I mentioned, and you get with Motorola, is the absolutely stacked package with case, cable, and even a charger. Something that, for instance, Sony with their Xperias doesn't include any of this apart from the device and paper. They give you paper and they give you the phone. You don't even get the charger. Here you get literally everything that you'd expect to get in a box for a device that needs to be charged. You actually get things that you can charge it with, because hey, maybe not everyone has a charger at home, and shit, spending money on a phone, I believe you should be getting everything in there to use it, because a day later this device becomes a brick if you don't have a charger. So props to Motorola for including it. It's still a fantastic device, one that I wouldn't have a problem using right now if someone gave it to me. It's a solid phone with a decent price. Not the best, but it does offer, like I mentioned, some perks with that price. Now the question will be to you, if the perks that it offers with the quality are the perks that you're looking for, or do you prefer a cheaper device that might be a little bit faster but feel cheaper? So anyway, I'll leave you with that, and with that being said, hopefully you found this very helpful, and if you did, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.